And he's like, I'm now an owner. Hello, nice to meet you. What?
So do you think he has time to come on our podcast now?
He's never been on my show.
Now that he's the owner of an NFL team?
He's never been on my show, but I don't think I've ever asked.
He doesn't have time.
I don't think I'm not like deluded enough to ask him to go on.
I don't think he's coming on.
Yeah. Why? Wait, now you're making me want to try to get him on. Why? What's he so busy with? What's he got going on? Shooting hoops with Ruben? Get out of here.
Commentating on a game every week. He's yachting, owner of the Raiders now. He's got plenty going on, but he can always zoom in for 5 minutes. That's all, 5 minutes. But we need him on my podcast first.
In a real way, I'd ask you, what does he bring to the Raiders as an owner? When you look at him and the owner title, like, break that down for me. What do the Raiders get? The Raiders need some hope right now.
All right, well, I necessarily don't know Tom's role as being an owner in the Raiders yet. I mean, it's going to probably come out what he's going to be doing, but just knowing what Tom brings to the table is just tremendous value, that's for sure. He understands the game inside and out. He understands how to prepare off the field, in the meeting rooms. He understands how to prepare on the practice field, and he understands how to prepare his body to get ready week in and week out and stay healthy and be able to be available every single week. And just the knowledge of the game that he has too, and the presence that he has with the game of football, if he just goes in the locker room and he just displays that to the guys, it will eventually wear off and they'll be able to just elevate their game to another level.
It's so true. Mark Davis said that he'll be involved in finding all the Raiders have to do now. The Band-Aid's ripped with Devontae. Like, you need to find a quarterback. I said it all day yesterday. That's Tom Telesco, their GM, Davis. And now Mark Davis did say that Tom's going to play a role in that he's going to be sort of evaluating who that quarterback should be. That's huge.
Well, that's a good point, and that's the truth. Tom knows talent better than anyone else. He knows how to evaluate a player. I remember just being one-on-one with him in meeting rooms, and he's going over the guys that are covering me, and he can break them down in literally 1 or 2 minutes to the T. He can tell you their skill set. He can tell you their weaknesses. He can tell you their strengths, and that's what Tom, brings big time, is just to the table, is just being able to know the skill set of a guy and what type of player he is and what, types of strengths and weaknesses that the guy has and what situations that this guy will, survive and thrive in as well.
I love that. What do you, when you were playing with Tom, whether it was in New England or in Tampa, did he care about what was going on that side of the building? Or was he so focused on your locker room and your part? Or did he like wander over there and care about how things were marketed, how things were, anything like that? Or was he like, how was he really?
No. When Tom was in the building playing football, all Tom cared about was the product that was out on the field. He only cared about going out there and being the best player that he could possibly be, when it's time to hit the field, when it's time to perform in the game. He didn't care about what others were saying about him. Never, ever. It didn't matter if it was all positive that week in the news about him or if it was all negative that week in the news about him. It never affected him and his preparation.
I think more like the business side. So when I look at Tom and being in part of the business side of this, I'm sure he wasn't really interested in that when he was playing ever. But now he is, because his whole life is business deals and whatever. When I look at Tom, I think it's one of the biggest things that he has that I wish I had, that I see in him without knowing. He really knows how to let go and delegate and trust. He just sort of will put this person, this person's going to help him with his PR, with Brady brand, with he is not micromanaging. He is just I'm going to let it go, surrounds himself, clearly picks the right people to be around him. And I wonder if that's the kind of effect that he'll have.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tom kind of learned that just through playing the game of football, that he knows he has to have a great team around him in order to, thrive. And Tom Brady is going to do what Tom Brady does. He's going he's going to help that team that's around him thrive to the highest level as well. He's going to perform and do his job, but he knows what it takes to get to the highest level, and that's surrounding yourself with other talent as well. And that's what he has done, obviously, on the field when he was playing, and now he's done it off the field while he's playing too. And if Tom just puts in any effort like he did preparing for a game, even 10% of the effort preparing for a game the way that he prepared week in and week out, he will be successful outside of football. And that's what he's been doing. He's been just rocking it in the booth for Fox. He's now the owner of the Raiders, part owner of the Raiders, and just everything he does it with purpose as well.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him so great, is that he cares what he's doing.
Yes.
And he's not going to take something on and not go full steam with it. And that's what makes him so great.
I think he wants to be a billionaire.
I mean, who doesn't want to be a billionaire, Kay?
And I like these moves that he's making. Speaking of moves being made, Tom gets in there, and on a day where Davante gets traded, all this news happens. It's sort of wild. The Bills get Amari Cooper. I don't really want to focus on that. It's sort of like lost its luster. We connected the dots, Davante, Jets, Aaron Rodgers, whatever. Everyone's talking to me about the chemistry. We had like the finishing each other's sentences. So when I think of that, and I've heard Luke Kuechly was saying it, everyone's saying it, I think of you. I think of you and Tom. I do think of you guys sort of finishing each other's sentences. The things that Davante says when he comes on the show, but I know it's going to go to my back show. I know where it's going. I've asked you what a big deal that is and how meaningful that'll be. What is like the pressure associated with being in this role with Davante? If you're being totally honest. Now, you went down to Tampa. You came to be this thing that sort of came into the locker room like, I know how Tom likes it. I have chemistry. We don't have to work on this. I know where it is. Everybody else pay attention. And you guys won a Super Bowl that year. But the pressure was on, but not really, because you guys had won 3 together already. With Davante, he's being tasked with going across the country to a 2-4 team with a bad offensive line, a 40-year-old quarterback people aren't believing in New York with that market and that fan base and that media thing. Like, what is the pressure of that?
Yeah, so myself, when I went down to Tampa, it's a totally different situation than Davante. I feel like Davante has pressure on him at a way higher level than I did when I went down to Tampa. Plus, Davante's going into the New York Jets to be the #1 wide receiver. Yes, they got Garrett Wilson, but they're putting that pressure on Davante to be that guy right away, and that he should be that guy right away, especially due to having that chemistry already with Aaron Rodgers when they were with the Packers together. When I went down to Tampa Bay, we had Chris Godwin there. We had Mike Evans. Leonard Fournette we picked up as well. I was kind of the fourth option. I was kind of there to be the role model to Tom Brady on how to understand him and go out there and practice the way that he practices and help unify the team. So it wasn't like, hey, Gronk, you're going to be the #1 guy. It was like, hey, just make a couple catches whenever the ball comes to you and block some guys. And I took on that role perfectly, and we won a championship, which was awesome because we had great players around us. But in New York, Davante Adams, pressure through the roof. Biggest city in the world. Media attention through the roof. I mean, he better perform or else him and Rodgers are going to feel it. And Rodgers, happy camper now. He got Lazard. He's got Nathaniel Hackett there, who he wanted. He's got his #1 guy now with Davante Adams. They got their schedules kind of easing up a little bit, so do not count them out. Do not count them out. I can see them winning some games and possibly sneaking into the playoffs as a wild card.
Possibly, or will you put your name on that right now? Everything is this
I would
a
put my
playoff
name
team?
on it. Is that if they do make the playoffs, well, they will make the playoffs, I feel like, but they'll sneak in as a wild card. But they're not a threat in the playoffs. I feel like wild card game they might win and then be knocked out in the second round or something. I mean, I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders because, you know, that offensive line needs to be fixed, and you really can't fix an offensive line in mid-season like that. But I feel like they do sneak into the playoffs, especially due to a weaker, you know, AFC East division.
All right, we're going to take a short break here. Gronk, you're going to stay through the break.
Lại với kênh YouTube của mình nha. Video ngày hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn cho các bạn tô màu sao cho thật là đẹp. Và bây giờ các bạn hãy cùng đi theo mình nhé.
Bây giờ mình sẽ tiếp tục tô màu nha các bạn.
Siêu nhân hả? À, giờ làm siêu nhân đi. Siêu nhân đi. Hoàng là một đội siêu nhân sắc màu xong thì là giải lao.
Rồi.
Hợp lý không?
Được. Không vấn đề.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình nha. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng tay. Và vòng tay hôm nay của mình sẽ có từ siêu nhân đen. Bây giờ mình sẽ bắt đầu làm nhé mọi người. Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng tay. Vòng tay hôm nay của mình sẽ có từ siêu nhân trắng. Bây giờ mình sẽ bắt đầu làm nha. Siêu nhân gao trắng. Gao. Ê, cái mồm chị nó bị méo sao ấy? Nói ra đây thì nó bị méo sao ấy?
Thì cái mồm em xem nó méo hết chị.
Nhưng mà cái mặt của chị nó bị một lá to ấy. Mọi người ơi, mình chọn màu vàng đầu tiên nha. Màu vàng sẽ là màu đầu tiên của mình nha mọi người.
Em còn bị méo của chị luôn.
Sao hôm nay là chị nói nhiều ấy? Hôm nào chị chẳng nói nhiều. Hôm nào Sơn nó đi làm ở đây mà nó không đeo tai nghe á, chị phải nói cho nó biết xác này, chị nói cho nó quên mất cái hướng ngoại của nó, cái hướng nội của nó luôn. Xem có ít nói không?
Hơi bị khó đấy.
Này không phải khó đâu. Chị xem chị dình hôm nào tai nghe hết pin nó không đeo được rồi, nhưng mà chả bao giờ thấy tai nghe hết pin.
Hết tưởng nhưng mà nói chung là sạch thì nhanh lắm.
Trời ơi má ơi, nói đến tai nghe là chị không muốn nói chuyện, tại vì là nó đã ít nói rồi mà nó nghe đeo tai nghe thế sao mà không nghe cái câu chuyện của chị nó làm cái gì quên.
Nó nghe được mà nhưng mà nó toàn chú bé để kiểu nghe thôi, nó nghe được nhưng mà nó không thể lời.
Hiện tại thì nó đeo tai nghe cho nên nó có lý do để nó trốn tránh.
Đúng rồi.
Cho nên là chị mới bảo là lúc nào không đeo tai nghe.
Rồi.
Mọi người ơi, bây giờ mình chọn màu tím nha. Màu tím sẽ là màu tiếp theo của mình nhá mọi người.
Em thấy là cái video em nó có bị xem lại như của chị không rồi. Trên mạng cho em xem thôi.
Đóng tô xong ngồi chơi suốt thì
Đâu ra mà hôm nay em ngồi chơi tí lại tô đây nè.
thì ra bảo tô xong mẹ tô xong
Các bạn ơi, sau màu tím là mình chọn màu cam nha. Bây giờ mình sẽ tiếp tục chọn màu cam nhé mọi người.
Bây giờ mình sẽ đi chơi nha các bạn ơi. Đúng rồi, em đã nghĩ ra rồi. Thứ hai là chị đi sáng đúng không? Nó đi sáng. Thế thì
Thứ hai chị đi sáng không? Chị đi
thứ
chiều.
hai
Thứ hai chị đi chiều mà.
thế thì thứ mấy?
bảo là cô ơi
Thứ năm, thứ năm, thứ sáu, thứ bảy, chủ nhật đi sáng.
Đi ấy mà đi làm mà. Được. Thế thì tối thứ tư em làm đây em sẽ
vậy là mình đã tô màu xong nhé các bạn ơi.
Xin chào tất cả các bạn đã quay trở lại với kênh YouTube của mình nha. Video ngày hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn cho các bạn tô màu sao cho thật là đẹp. Và bây giờ các bạn hãy cùng đi theo mình nhé.
có cái gì có tư cách gì
Ai?
không?
Chắc là anh nào
Nhưng mà thôi nhất trong đây này.
thì kể kệ thì phải tô màu xong nhé các bạn.
Lợi công lớn nhất trong đây luôn hả?
Mà chị quyết nha.
Quyết.
Quyết thì nghe của tín đeo luôn.
Chú em sinh năm bao nhiêu?
6 gì? Là 6.
86, em Quyết nhà chị có 96. Mà ngang tuổi thì ra vả thôi.
Mẹ chú về vòng mẹ tao à?
Nhưng mày xem bao nhiêu?
86 rồi.
Ở đâu? Quên 96 mới đúng. Quên 96.
Đây.
Ngủ được bỏ. Bằng ai Quyết không nói là đây.
Mọi người ơi, bây giờ mình sẽ buộc hai đầu vòng của mình lại nha. Mọi người ơi, mình buộc hai đầu vòng của mình lại nha.
Anh Tần chán nó về, Tần ra xem nó bóng, xem đánh bóng tầm 7 rưỡi mới về.
Đánh bóng rồi đâu?
Đấy, kia nhà văn hóa. Có anh Quyên anh Kiên có hết mà, Tần ở đấy mà. Cứ 6 giờ ra đấy là rồi trên
Sân
cái
Khấu
khác.
à?
Đấy,
Ở sân khấu á?
sân gò đâu, nhà văn đấy cơ mà.
Nhà văn hóa nào?
Chỗ trường cấp 2 ư. Ơi, quỷ ơi. Xã. Vì
Giời ơi.
Thằng thủ vô à?
Đấy là trạm y tế mà.
thì có là xã.
Đúng rồi.
Đấy là trạm y tế, xã gì xã? Sao lại gọi là xã?
Không phải nó sẽ được bay video à?
Con người sợ. Các bạn ơi đây nha, cái vòng của mình đang được hoàn thành nha. Các bạn ơi đây là vòng của mình đang được hoàn thành nha.
19 video.
Mọi người ơi đây nha, vòng của mình hoàn thành rồi nha. Video của mình đến đây là kết thúc. Nếu các bạn thích thì cho mình xin một like và chia sẻ và đăng ký kênh nhá. Các bạn ơi đây là vòng của mình đã hoàn thành nha. Video của mình đến đây là kết thúc. Nếu các bạn thích thì cho mình xin một like và chia sẻ và đăng ký kênh nha. Còn bây giờ xin chào và hẹn gặp lại mọi người.
Rồi thì nghe gì nữa?
Sao?
Giờ thì nghe gì nữa?
Giờ chị sẽ check Google tiếp tục thôi.
Shit. Oh no, nha. Thì cả hai các bạn em biết nhưng mà không biết đi.
Chị người khổ.